Hi friends, I'm Scott Giles and welcome to Saturday at 2:30. Every Saturday afternoon at 2:30 Central Time, I shoot a video podcast here on Facebook Live, which I will then edit and put up on my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about the importance of self-reflection. Now, as a consulting hypnotist and a life coach, this is actually a professional discipline of mine. You need to do this when you are helping professionals so that you respond to other people in accordance with their needs, not with your own internal world. So you have to know where those boundaries are, and nothing helps you more than having a regular practice of self-reflection to keep you grounded. So I would make a stronger claim, though. I think that everyone needs to have some method of self-reflection in their lives. It keeps you from, fooling yourself. What's the old joke? You never want to read your own press releases. We all present ourselves to other people in a way that we think puts our best foot forward. That's normal. But we got to remember that in addition to that best foot, we got another foot somewhere. And keeping those in balance in your self-assessment is enormously helpful to prevent arrogance or to prevent from over-caring or over-functioning. Now, a lot of people practice meditation as a method of self-reflection, and that's great. The only concern I have about people who use meditation regularly is that sometimes the insights you gain in the meditative state kind of pass out of your mind when you leave meditation. All successful people, in my experience, write stuff down. They don't try to keep it in their head. As I often say, I use my brain to think, not to store information. So if you don't write things down at the end of your meditation, the insights will tend to be ephemeral. I also find probably the best methods of self-reflection are those that involve somehow keeping a record. Because what floats into your mind can float right back out again if you're not careful to get it captured in some objective medium. The method of self-reflection that I personally use is journal keeping. And I've kept a journal since I was 15. I have a video on my YouTube channel about journal keeping. I've used many different methods over the years. One I devised myself and that my denomination published as part of its Odyssey 4 curriculum for adult spiritual development. I've done the intensive journal process of Ira Progoff, Tristan Rayner's New Diary, and others. Currently, I use the method called the bullet journal. If you're curious, there are books on Amazon and YouTube videos about bullet journaling, a process created by Ryder Carroll, which is both useful for task management, but also for ongoing self-reflection. Every day on my desk, my bullet journal is open, and on one page, I'm organizing the tasks and things I need to get done. On the other page, I'm continuously reflecting on what's happening to me. I find this to be really helpful. But there are other methods, to be sure. Spiritual conversation. I was in spiritual direction for more than a dozen years with a Franciscan priest. Thank you, Jonathan, if you're watching. I think I worried him, but those conversations were enormously helpful in having another pair of ears listen to my story and my thoughts and reflect back to me some things about them that I might not have seen or might have been fooling myself about. Therapy can also serve this function, and that's actually a great use of therapy, not to work on a specific problem like depression or anxiety, but to simply become a better version of yourself. Life coaching works the same way. Self-talk. periodically sitting down, either while on a long walk or in a chapel or just in a quiet room, and talking to yourself about your life and reflecting can be very helpful. Letting yourself hear the words out loud rather than just thinking about them tends to make them more real to you. And if you do that, you then want to have a recorder or a notebook nearby so you can write down the insights that you attain. Uh, Spiritual reading or philosophical reading can be, again, useful for sparking reflection about yourself. When we find a book that belonged to some notable personage from the past, one of the things that collectors prize the most about those books is called the marginalia, what that person wrote in the margins, because that shows you their internal process of self-reflection. And so when you read, you want to have a pad near you or some method of taking notes. And of course, and this is going to surprise some people, but divination. Now, I don't personally use tarot cards or things like that, but I know people who do. And whether they're looking at their horoscope or the tarot card spread or whatever, it forces them to think about what's happening to them, what they're worried about in a different way. The presentation of somewhat ambiguous symbols sometimes is enough to spark an insight and then write that down. So a process of self-reflection, enormously useful. Now, one of the things that most really intelligent people will experience, I call the imposter syndrome. You feel, that you're a fake, that, you don't know as much as people think you know. You're afraid that they're going to get to know you really well and look behind the mask and see that you're actually a windbag. In my experience, almost every intelligent, skillful person experiences the imposter syndrome. Because when you know a lot about something, you know enough to know what you don't know. You know how much more there is to learn. And so you can feel a little bit funny if you're held up or presented as an expert when you know that you don't know everything. Now, of course, no one can know everything. And if you're bright and if you really know your stuff, you know what you don't know. And that allows you to, not become arrogant, not become too self-assured. And that can actually be a really good place to be intellectually. But you can feel like an imposter until you realize that that's normal. That all accomplished people feel a little bit of that. The people who don't feel that way, who think they know everything and have no self-doubt, those are the people you want to watch out for. And a regular process of self-reflection helps work against the imposter syndrome. Because when you note that you don't know something, you write that down or you reflect on it. You also reflect on what you do know. You put that in balance, and that gives you a nice, healthy psychological perspective about your life. It's the people who don't do any self-reflection who think they know it all when they don't. And watch out for them. This kind of self-reflective process is enormously valuable because it works against the tendency to react. A lot of us, when we're confronted by something that happens to us that's disturbing or moving in some way, we shoot from the hip. We immediately react. That almost never is the best option. What you want to do is take in what's happened, reflect, and then respond. Make a measured response based upon that reflection. Because I don't know about you, but my first reaction to things almost always is primitive or coming out of my inner world of fears and insecurities. And it's not till I have a chance to process that, get those in perspective, that I can make a response that I'm proud of and that serves me well. So I highly recommend some method of self-reflection as a standard part of your life. Hey, thank you for your time and attention. I'll be back next week. It's Saturday at 2:30 with another talk on another topic. I hope you'll join me. If you're watching this, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If I can be of help to you as a life coach or as a hypnotist, please feel free to reach out. It's what I do for a living, and I enjoy it very, very much. Take care, stay well, and stay safe.